Hello everyone, welcome to biology class. I hope everything is going good with all your studies, examinations, preparations for your CT, NEET, etc. So coming to our classes, in the last class we have discussed, till the last class we have discussed about the nucleic acids like DNA, RNA. In that we have discussed about the formation of nucleosides and the formation of nucleotides and nucleotides. Lastly, in the yesterday's class especially, we have discussed the Watson and Crick model of DNA. Watson and Crick model of DNA. Okay, hope you remember the concepts till now, right? After this biomolecule, we will move on to another biomolecule that we call it as lipids. Another biomolecule. When we say lipids, there is a question whether the lipids are biomicromolecule or biomacromolecule. Because when you have seen a protein, amino acid was the micromolecule, polypeptide was the macromolecule, protein was the macromolecule. When we come to carbohydrate, the glucose or monosaccharides were the micromolecules and the polysaccharides were the macromolecules. When we come to nucleic acids, a nucleotide was the micromolecule and the DNA, RNA or polynucleotides were the macromolecules. But here, when we come to lipids, actually they are micromolecules. Actually, basically they are micromolecules, but the lipids form vesicles. Vesicle means group of some molecules. For example, some lipids which are combined together, means they are not arranged freely. They will not be available freely, but they are available in groups. These small structures which contain many lipids, they are known as vesicles. These vesicles are having more molecular weight, that is more than 10,000 Dalton. Hence they are referred as a macromolecule. ಓಕೆ, ಬರೀ ಲಿಪಿಡ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ನಮಗದು ಮೈಕ್ರೋಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಆದರೆ ಆ ಲಿಪಿಡ್ಗಳು ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಅವು ಸೆಪ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿರೋದು, ಫ್ರೀ ಆಗಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಒಂದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಕೂಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತವೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಕೂಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ವೆಸಿಕಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಆ ವೆಸಿಕಲ್ನ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ವೇಟ್ ಮಾಸ್ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಕಾಣೋದೇನು, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ರೋಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ವಿಲ್ ನಾವ್ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ ಲಿಪಿಡ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇರ್ types, what they are. Okay, you ಕೇಳಿರ್ಬೋದು ಲಿಪಿಡ್, ಫ್ಯಾಟ್, ಆಯಿಲ್, ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸೆಟ್ರಾ ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಆಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಲಿಪಿಡ್ಸ್, ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ಲಿಪಿಡ್ಸ್? ಲಿಪಿಡ್ಸ್ are the biomolecules which are insoluble in water, and are soluble in organic solvents of yes, organic solvents enough. Okay, so remember, these are the biomolecules. Of course, they are insoluble in water and are soluble in organic solvents. ಅಂದರೆ ನೀರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಕರಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಈ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಸಾಲ್ವೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅವು ಕರಗ್ತವೆ. ಓಕೆ, simply lipids are biomolecules which are insoluble in water and they are soluble in organic solvents. Then what kind of organic solvents are there for the lipids to be dissolved properly? So the organic solvents such as ether, benzene, chloroform, etc. ಈ ರೀತಿ ಸುಮಾರು ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಸಾಲ್ವೆಂಟ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಲಿಪಿಡ್ಗಳು ಕರಗ್ತವೆ. ಸೊ ದೇ ಆರ್ ನೋನ್ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಅ ಲಿಪಿಡ್ಸ್. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಇನ್ಸಾಲ್ಯುಬಲ್ ಇನ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸಾಲ್ಯುಬಲ್ ಇನ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಸಾಲ್ವೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಈಥರ್, ಬೆನ್ಸಿನ್, chloroform, etc. Means many more are there which dissolve the lipids. Okay. Here when we come to lipids, there are three major categories of lipids. Three major categories of lipids. First category of lipids is fatty acids. Fatty acids. Second category of lipids is glycerol or glycerides. Glycerols or glycerides. Third category of lipids is phospholipids. Third category of lipids is phospholipids. We'll discuss all these three in detail one by one. What do you mean by them? What they contain? How they are structurally or chemically? Right? So briefly, lipids are the biomolecules which are insoluble in water and soluble in organic solvents. And there are three types of lipids. First one is fatty acid, second one is glycerol or glyceride, and third one is a phospholipid. Right. So we'll see the first one, that is a fatty acid. First one, fatty acid. Fatty acids are the lipids that have carboxyl group. Carboxyl group andre it must be COOH, carboxyl group, having carboxyl group with attached to an R group, attached to an R group. Okay, so remember simply fatty acid contains two groups, two chemical components. One is carboxyl group, another one is R group. As we have seen in amino acids, etc., here also they contain R group. R means variable groups, it may change. Okay, we'll see what are those R groups. Simply fatty acids are the organic lipids with a carboxyl group attached to the R group. We'll see what are the R groups here. R group may be methyl group, that is CH3. R group may be ethyl group, that is C2H5. Then it may be higher number of CH2 groups, higher number of CH2 groups. For example, 1 to 20 carbons, 1 to 20 carbons. Okay, higher number of carboxyl groups. So they are called 1 to 20 or 1 to 19 as per our books. It is a 1 to 19 usually, and it may cross even, right? Andre 1 to 90 means C like that. We go even above 20 also, right? ಸೊ ಈ ಆರ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ನ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಈ ಮಿಥೈಲ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಇಥೈಲ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೈಯರ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಂದರೆ ಹೈಯರ್ ನಂಬರ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, CH2 ಆ ರೀತಿ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಡ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. ಓಕೆ, ನಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನಲ್ಲಿ, ನಾಟ್ ನೀಡ್ ಟು worry about structures. If you remember theoretically, that's enough. Okay. Again, we have the chemistry chapter biomolecules in second PUC. We'll study those structures in second PUC. Don't worry for now, right? So here, these are the fatty acids containing any one of these three R groups. For example, here arachidonic acid. For example, for this is arachidonic acid. Arachidonic acid. It has 20 carbons. 20 carbons, including carboxyl carbon. Artha agudare directly. We'll better draw it first. Fatty acids are the lipids that have a carboxyl group, COOH, right? We can write this COOH as C double bond O HO. ಈ ರೀತಿ ಬರಿಬೋದಾ? ಈ ರೀತಿ ಬರಿಬೋದು, right? Then these groups may attach CH3. So H3 ಆಯ್ತಾ? CH3 ಅಥವಾ C2H5. C1 C2 H1 H2 H3 H4 H5 aita C2H5, right? Like that. If more number, this goes on continuing. If it is of more number, it will be like that, it will be continued. Okay. So but this will be constant. C double bond O HO. This is COH. But the R group may be different. Just like the different amino acids having different R groups. Here the different fatty acids have a different R groups, either methyl, ethyl or any other higher number groups. Okay. They mentioned here arachidonic acid has 20 carbons including carboxyl carbon. Okay. Here I said 19. Now I am writing 20. What does it mean? Okay. It should not cross 19, right? But including carboxyl carbon, andre count this also. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. It may reach till 20. When we leave this, it will have only 19. Okay. So when we make it 0, other will have only 19 carbons. Means in that hydrocarbon chain, it will have only 19. 19 plus 1, it becomes 20. Right? Don't worry about the numbers again now. I'm just writing. In this fatty acid, there are 20 carbons. 20 means 19 carbons in the R group, 1 carbon of the carboxyl group. That's called carboxyl carbon. This is called a carboxyl carbon. In that COOH carboxyl group, that carbon is called carboxyl carbon. Right? Here we have two types of fatty acids. One is saturated and other one is unsaturated. Okay. You may be knowing from chemistry saturated and unsaturated. Okay. In chemistry we have seen that any compound usually we refer to as a saturated as well as a unsaturated. What does it mean? Here we have only one bond, single bond in between, right? So in between those carbons in the R group, it has only single bond. It's called saturated. Means all are same type of bonds. But anywhere if it is having double bond, anywhere it is having double bond, then it is called unsaturated. Okay. If the hydrocarbon chain, if the R group chain is having only single chains, single bond in throughout the chain, it is called saturated fatty acid. If it has any one of the at any place, if it is having double bond, it is called unsaturated fatty acid. Okay, better we'll make a small table to differentiate the two types of fatty acids. One is saturated as well as other one unsaturated. Just difference is in the long chain, if they have double bond, that it's called unsaturated. If they don't have double bond, it's called saturated. Right? Better pause the video, take the definition of that, because I am going to rub this at this point only. You just pause the video stop ಮಾಡಿ ಇದನ್ನು ಬರ್ಕೊಡ್ರಿ. Right? Don't take screenshots. Okay, let the video continue for another 20 minutes. Just pause the video and write the things that becomes your notes. Thank you. So here two types of fatty acids. Two types of fatty acids. So briefly I will go very fast, no need to worry about completely. First type is saturated fatty acids. Next, unsaturated fatty acids. Okay, here they have double bonds. Sorry, have no double bonds. They have double bonds. They have a double bond. Here one more thing to remember, usually the double bond is present between carbon 9 and carbon 10. For example, if I am writing this, it's first carbon, right? It is a first carbon, second carbon, third carbon, fourth carbon, fifth carbon, sixth carbon, seventh carbon, eighth carbon, ninth carbon, like that. In the sixth, better I will take it little earlier. See, imagine it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. C4, C5, C6, C7, C8, C9, C10. So here between 9th carbon and 10th carbon there is a double bond. There is a double bond. Here all we have a H, H, H like that. Hydrocarbon chain is there. But all have single bonds. But between 9th carbon and 10th carbon there is a double bond. Right? This is not necessary for theory purpose, but for objective purpose, remember in the unsaturated fatty acid they have double bonds. Yes, where it is? It is present between the 9th carbon of the chain, hydrocarbon chain, and the 10th carbon of the hydrocarbon chain. That's the point you should remember for examination purposes. Okay, next. They are here. Solids at room temperature. Here they are liquids at room temperatures. So, for example, whatever the temperature of this room is there now, 37-27 degrees Celsius, at that temperature they will be remain as solid, but they will remain as liquids. Only because, look at the next point, they have high melting point. They have a high melting point. Here they have low melting point. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕರಗೋ ಬಿಂದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕರಗೋ ಬಿಂದು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಅವು ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತವೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇವು ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತವೆ. ರೈಟ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ದೇ ಆರ್ ಫೌಂಡ್ ಇನ್ plants. Here they are found in animals. Found in animals. For example, here we have butyric acid, lauric acid, and stearic acid. Here we have for example oleic acid, and linoleic acid. Oleic acid and linoleic acid are the two examples for unsaturated fatty acids, right? So these are the few differences between the two types of fatty acids, that is as saturated fatty acids as well as unsaturated fatty acids. Okay, so this is all about fatty acids. Again I am telling you, just pause the video pause ಮಾಡಿ ಆ ಟೇಬಲ್ನ ಬುಕ್ಗಳು ಬರ್ಕೋರಿ, ಗ್ರೂಪ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕಳಿಸಬೇಡ್ರಿ, ಡೋಂಟ್ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಗ್ರೂಪ್, ಲೆಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಬಿ ಇನ್ ಯುವರ್ ನೋಟ್ಸ್. ರೈಟ್. ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ fatty acid. Okay. Next category, that is glycerol or glycerides. Here they are called propanes with the 3 OH groups. They are propanes with the 3 OH groups, means 3 carbons having 3 OH groups. So only they are known as trihydroxypropanes. They are known as trihydroxypropanes. So here second one, glycerol or glycerides. These are called trihydroxypropanes. You must be knowing propane refers to the alcohols. So they are trihydroxy alcohols with 3 carbons, each with OH group. Andre they have 3 carbon compound, every carbon has one OH group. Another thing, here the fatty acids are found esterified with ಗ್ಲಿಸರಾಲ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಈ 3 ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ಗಳಿಗೆ OH ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಬ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ಆ 3 OH ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ಆ ಫ್ಯಾಟಿ ಆ್ಯಸಿಡ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ಅದೇನಂತ ನೋಡೋಣ. ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ CH2 3 carbons, means 3 carbon compounds are there. Trihydroxy alcohols with 3 carbons, each with OH group, means every one carbon has one OH group. So OH and OH, right? This is the actual structure of the glycerols or glycerides, right? Trihydroxy propanes or alcohols, trihydroxy alcohols or trihydroxypropanes. Remember the structure properly. Okay, CH2OH, CHOH and CH2OH. Now what about this third point? Fatty acids are found acidified with a glycerol. ಅಂದರೆ ಈ ಮೂರು ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಫ್ಯಾಟಿ ಆ್ಯಸಿಡ್ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ಯಾಟಿ ಆ್ಯಸಿಡ್ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಯಾವುದ್ರ ಮೂಲಕ? ಬೈ ದ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಈಸ್ಟರ್ ಬಾಂಡ್. ಬೈ ದ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಈಸ್ಟರ್ ಬಾಂಡ್. ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ವಿ ಯಾವಾಗ? ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ದ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯೋಟೈಡ್ ದ pentose sugar will bind with a phosphate by the formation of a ester bond, also called a phosphodiester bond antali kaltidvi. Similarly here there is one fatty acid is going to join at this compound by the formation of a ester bond, by the formation of ester bond with all these three. Okay, so depending on that there are three types of glycerides. There are three types of glycerides. ಅಂದರೆ ಈಗ ಈ ಮೂರು OH ಗ್ರೂಪ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇಫ್ there is only one fatty acid attached, these two are free, then it is called a monoglyceride. ಅಂದರೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಗ್ಲಿಸರಾಲ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲಿಗೆ ಒಂದೇ ಫ್ಯಾಟಿ ಆ್ಯಸಿಡ್ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಈ ಎರಡು ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಗಳು ಖಾಲಿ ಇದ್ದಾವೆ, then it is called a monoglyceride. When another fatty acid joins here, it's called diglyceride. Then when another fatty acid joins here, it's called triglyceride. ಒಂದೇ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆದರೆ ಇದು ಮೊನೋಗ್ಲಿಸರೈಡ್, ಎರಡು ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆದರೆ ಅದು ಡೈಗ್ಲಿಸರೈಡ್, ಮೂರಕ್ಕೂ ಒಂದು ಫ್ಯಾಟಿ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆದರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಟ್ರೈಗ್ಲಿಸರೈಡ್. It is called a triglyceride, and this bond is known as a ester bond. The process is called esterification. Okay, the bond is known as ester bond and the process is called esterification. Okay, so ಇದು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ನಿಮಗೆ, ಇದು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಡೋಂಟ್ ವರಿ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ ಎಸ್ಟರಿಫಿಕೇಷನ್, ಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲಿತೀರಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ. ಫೈನ್, ಜಸ್ಟ್ ದ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್, ದ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ದ ಗ್ಲಿಸರಲ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದ ಫ್ಯಾಟಿ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಎಸ್ಟರ್ ಬಾಂಡ್. ದ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಎಸ್ಟರ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಎಸ್ಟರಿಫಿಕೇಷನ್. Okay, better we'll write this in detail so you can understand better. So first one, monoglycerides. Monoglycerides. Here only one fatty acid, only one fatty acid is attached to glycerol molecule. Glycerol molecule. So only one fatty acid is attached. For example, here in this case, just so one fatty acid is joined here. This may continue. ಇದು ಲಾಂಗ್ ಇರಬಹುದು. ಓಕೆ, ಒಂದು ಗ್ಲಿಸರಲ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಫ್ಯಾಟಿ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಹಿಯರ್ ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್, ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಈಸ್ಟರ್ ಬಾಂಡ್, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ monoglyceride, where only one fatty acid has joined to the glycerol molecule, then it is called a monoglyceride. For example, here, for example, monolaurin. It is an example for a monoglyceride. Second one, diglyceride. Here two fatty acids are attached to the glycerol molecule. Here it was only one, here two. like that. You can see here another C, double bond O, C, like that. One more fatty acid is joined either here or here, anywhere. So it is a diglyceride. Example here is ceramide. Lastly, triglyceride. Here 2, here it is 3. 3 fatty acids are attached to glycerol molecule. All the 3 are occupied by the fatty acid glycerol molecule. Okay. For example, I will draw a better diagram here. It may help in next step also. So CH2OH, CHOH, CH2OH. Okay. So this is our glycerol molecule. So for this, one fatty acid molecule will be attached. So carbon, double bond O, carbon, like that. Okay. So again here another carbon, double bond O, carbon. So carbon, double bond O, carbon. Here carbon means CH2, like that. Every carbon has hydrogen on either side. Remember here, just I am not writing due to space. So all carbons have 2 CH2 groups, right? Now it is called a triglyceride because one fatty acid attached to one OH group, it is monoglyceride. 2 fatty acids attached to the glycerol molecule, diglyceride. 3 fatty acid molecules attached to all the 3 OH groups, it is called triglyceride. Okay. So that's how you can see the 3 major types of glycerols or glycerides, right? And we can also call them as fats and oils. ಹೌದಾ? ನೀವು ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಹೋಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಆಯಿಲ್, ಘೀ ಎರಡು ತೊಗೊಂಬರ್ತೀವಿ, ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಮತ್ತು ತುಪ್ಪ ತೊಗೊಂಬರ್ತೀವಿ. ಹೌದಾ? ತಂದು ಮನೇಲಿ ಇಟ್ಟ ಮೇಲೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈಗ ಟೆಂಪ್ರೇಚರ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ಈ ಟೆಂಪ್ರೇಚರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮನೆಗೆ ಇಟ್ಟು ನೋಡಿ, ಎರಡನ್ನ ಫ್ರಿಜ್ನಾಗ ಇಡಬೇಡ್ರಿ, 2 ಗಂಟೆ ಆಗ್ತವೆ. ಸೊ ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ರೂಮ್ ಟೆಂಪ್ರೇಚರ್ ಇದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು 2 ದಿನ ಆಗೋದ್ರೊಳಗೆ ತುಪ್ಪ ಗಟ್ಟಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತದೆ, ಆದರೆ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಹಾಗೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ದ ಘೀ ಕಂಟೈನ್ಸ್ ದ ಫ್ಯಾಟ್ಸ್ and other one is oil. So only we can classify them as fats and oils. Okay, just I'll write here. We can classify them as fats and oils. Fats having higher melting point, oils having lower melting point. They have a lower melting point. So fats remain as solids, especially in this winter season. Oils remain as liquids, just based on that property. Since they have a high melting point, they remain as solids. Oils have a low melting point, they remain as liquids in winter season, especially in a winter season. ಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡಿರಿ. ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ 2 ಬೌಲ್ ತೊಗೊಳ್ರಿ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಎಣ್ಣೆ, ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ತುಪ್ಪ ಹಾಕಿರಿ, ಕೋಲ್ಡ್ ಇಡ್ರಿ ರೂಮ್ ಟೆಂಪ್ರೇಚರಲ್ಲಿ. 2 ದಿನಕ್ಕೆ ತುಪ್ಪ ಗಟ್ಟಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತದೆ, ಆಯಿಲ್ ಹಾಗೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದ ಘೀ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಹೈಯರ್ ಮೆಲ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್, ದ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಲೆಸರ್ ಮೆಲ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್. ದಟ್ಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ glycerol or glycerides, right? So after this we'll move on to the next, that's phospholipid. Simply best we'll rub these things, additional things we can understand better here. We have seen here the monoglycerides, diglycerides and triglycerides. In these 3 these three, to one of these groups, ಎರಡು ಗ್ರೂಪಿಗೆ 40 ಆ್ಯಸಿಡ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ರೈಟ್. ಬಟ್ to one of these groups, one of the phosphoric acid is attached. When a phosphoric acid and a phosphorylated organic compound is attached to the glycerol molecule, it is called phospholipid. Phospholipid, mainly the phosphoric acid or the similar compounds. The process is phosphorylation. We will discuss in photosynthesis and some other topics in plant physiology. So mainly when the glyceride has phosphoric acid, yadu H3PO4, then it is called a phospholipid. The third type of a lipid, right? Actually it is a diglyceride because two fatty acids are attached. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಂಚೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ ನಾವು, ಓನ್ಲಿ ಒನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದೇ ಫ್ಯಾಟಿ ಆ್ಯಸಿಡ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದರೆ ಗ್ಲಿಸರಾಲಿಗೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಮೊನೋಗ್ಲಿಸರೈಡ್. ಎರಡು ಫ್ಯಾಟಿ ಆ್ಯಸಿಡ್ಸ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದರೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಡೈಗ್ಲಿಸರೈಡ್. ಮೂರು ಆಗಿದ್ದರೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಟ್ರೈಗ್ಲಿಸರೈಡ್. ಬಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಟೂ ಆರ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ಡ್. For this OH group, this H3PO4 is going to be attached. H3PO4 we can write as a OH double bond O. This will be attached here. So H3PO4. Okay, this is called a fatty acid. This is called, usually it will be attached at other side, not to the side of the fatty acid, the hydrocarbon chain, it will be attached towards this. So we can write here HO, and we can write here the H3PO4. So P OH, and this will be gone in a bond formation also. So only we have remained with the phosphoric acid. Okay, here the main part, we can correlate this end to the cell membrane. ಹೆಂಗೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ನೋಡಿದ್ರಿ, cell membrane is made up of lipid bilayer. ನೆನಪಿದೆಯಾ? Cell membrane is made up of a lipid bilayer. We can remember this diagram, right? Illen helidri, this is called head, this is called tail. Nanpidiya? Okay. And you said that head is polar, tail is non-polar. One more point you wrote there, remember, head is hydrophilic. ನೆನಪಿದೆಯಾ? ನೆನಪು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ರಿ ಅಥವಾ ಬುಕ್ ತೆಗೆದು ನೋಡ್ರಿ. In the cell membrane made up of two lipid bilayer, the head is polar and hydrophilic, tail is non-polar and hydrophobic. ಅಂದರೆ head will attract the water, tail will repel the water. ಇದು ನೀರನ್ನು ಹೀರ್ಕೊಳ್ತದ, ಇದು ನೀರು ಕಂಡ್ರೆ ಓಡೋಗ್ತದೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಆರ್ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ದ ವಾಟರ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್, ರೈಟ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಡ್ರಾ ಹಿಯರ್. ಹೆಡ್, ಟೇಲ್, head, tail, head, tail. Here this is the head, this is the tail. Okay, so the part of the glycerol which contains phosphate group is head, and the part of the glycerol which has the hydrocarbon chain, whatever may be the length here, this is ದ ಟೇಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್. ತಲೆ ಮತ್ತು ಬಾಲ ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬಂತು? ನೀವು 2 ಲೈನ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, ಹೌದಾ? 2 ಲೈನ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೀರಾ? 2 ಲೈನ್ ಯಾರು? ದೀಸ್ 2 ಲೈನ್ಸ್ 1 2. ಓಕೆ, ಅಂದರೆ ಗ್ಲಿಸರಾಲಲ್ಲಿ 3 ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತವೆ, CH2 CH CH2. ಆ 3ರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗಿರೋದು ಯಾರು? ಫಾಸ್ಫರಿಕ್ ಆ್ಯಸಿಡ್. ಇನ್ನೆರಡು ಯಾರು ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ? ಫ್ಯಾಟಿ ಆ್ಯಸಿಡ್ ಚೈನ್ಸ್, ಹೈಡ್ರೋಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಚೈನ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನೀವಿಲ್ಲಿ 2 ಲೈನ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೀರಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ 2 ಲೈನ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ನೆನಪಿದೆಯಾ? ನೆನಪು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ರಿ, ರೈಟ್. ಸೊ ಇನ್ನು ಕೆಲವು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ವರ್ಡ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಫೋಬಿಸಿಟಿ. ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ವರ್ಡ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಫೋಬಿಸಿಟಿ. ಅಂದರೆ ಇದು ಹೈಡ್ರೋಫೋಬಿಕ್, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ರಿಪೆಲ್ ದ ವಾಟರ್. In what intensity it is repelling the water? Means in what speed it is repelling the water. This decides based on the number of carbons. When the hydrocarbon chain is shorter, it is having less hydrophobicity, less hydrophobic. When the hydrocarbon chain is very longer, when the hydrocarbon chain is very longer, it is a more hydrophobic, more hydrophobicity. ಓಕೆ, ನೀರು ಕಂಡ್ರೆ ಇದು 1 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟ್ರ್ ಓಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಇದು ನೀರು ಕಂಡ್ರೆ ಇದು 2 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟ್ರ್ ಓಡ್ತದೆ. ಓಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ರಿಪೆಲ್ ಇನ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಇಂಟೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ. ಇಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಬೈ ದ್ಯಾಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ವಿ ಆರ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ 2 ಲೈನ್ಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್. 2 ಲೈನ್ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಲೈನ್ಸ್ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ನಿಮಗೆ ಯಾರು ಹಿಂದೆ ಕೇಳಿರ್ತಾರ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು 2 ಲೈನ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, this is the answer. Okay, in the cell chapter we have seen that. Better we'll rub it for your space. So cell membrane ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಹೆಡ್ ಮತ್ತು ಟೇಲ್, ಹೆಡ್ ಟೇಲ್, ಹೆಡ್ ಟೇಲ್, ಇದೇ ರೀತಿ ಹೆಡ್ ಟೇಲ್, ಹೆಡ್ ಟೇಲ್. ಸೊ ಈ ಒಂದು ಹೆಡ್ ಮತ್ತು 2 ಟೇಲ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ 2 ಟೇಲ್ಸ್. Tail means the hydrocarbon chains. Tail means hydrocarbon chain. Then what about the head? Here head means glycerol with phosphoric acid. Glycerol with phosphoric acid, what we consider as a head, this molecule or this molecule, and tail is the hydrocarbon chain, whatever may be the length. More the length, more the carbons, hydrocarbons, more the hydrophobicity, less the number, less the hydrophobicity, right. This is about the phospholipids. Usually they are found in our cell membrane, usually found in cell membrane. Okay, I think it's enough for today's class. If anything doubt regarding this, just post in group. Today there is no homework, don't post anything in the group, right. Doubts idre group alli hakri, we'll try to solve the doubts. Okay, so ivattige lipids finish. In the next class we will discuss about another important concept about metabolites. Metabolites. Okay, ನೀವು ಕೇಳಿರ್ಬೋದು ಮೆಟಬಾಲಿಸಮ್ ಅಂತ. ಓಕೆ, ಮೆಟಬಾಲಿಸಮ್ means all the chemical reactions taking place in our body. ಒಂದು ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಣ್ಣ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ದೊಡ್ಡ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಡೌನ್ ಆಗಿ ಸಣ್ಣ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. ಆಲ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಮೆಟಬಾಲಿಸಮ್, ರೈಟ್? ಆ ಮೆಟಬಾಲಿಕ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗುವಾಗ ಯಾವ ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಬಂದು ಹೋಗ್ತವೆ, ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ತಯಾರಾಗ್ಬೋದು, ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಡೌನ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. ದೋಸ್ ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಮೆಟಬಾಲೈಟ್ಸ್. Okay, the chemicals involved in the metabolic reactions or metabolism are called metabolites. Again, we have two types in that, primary metabolites and secondary metabolites. Okay, what is primary metabolite? ಒಂದು ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ಗೆ ಅವು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ, ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ಗಾನಿಸಮ್ ಯಾವುದೊಂದು ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ಗೆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಪ್ರೈಮರಿ ಮೆಟಬಾಲೈಟ್ಸ್. ಇಫ್ ದೇ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಇಂಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ they are called secondary metabolites. Okay, so we'll discuss this in a detail in the tomorrow's class. Till that, keep learning, keep asking the doubts in the group so that you can understand that the topic is somewhat understood, right? Okay, thank you.